The purpose of this video is to introduce the term sample space to you and help you understand how it applies within the context of probability. The sample space is a set of all possible outcomes of the trials conducted in an experiment. So for example, if we flip a coin, what can happen? We can get a heads or we can get a tails. So those are the only two outcomes. So that's our sample space, heads and tails. But what if we flip two coins? Now things change a little bit. We could get heads, heads. We could get tails, tails. We could get heads, tails, or we could get tails, heads. Now, those four things are the only things that can occur when we flip two coins, and therefore that is our entire sample space. What if we flip three coins? Things change a little bit. We can get heads, heads, heads. We can get tails, tails, tails. We can go heads, tails, heads. We can go tails, heads, tails. We can go heads, tails, tails. We can go tails, tails, heads. We can go heads, heads, tails. We can go, let's see here, heads, we can go tails, heads, heads. And those are the only 8 things that we can be, so that becomes our sample space. Those 8 items. Let's try something different. How about rolling a die? Well, on a die we can get a 1 or a 2 or a 3 or a 4 or a 5 or a 6. And that's it. So those 6 items are our sample space. So the sample space helps you generate how many different outcomes are possible in an experiment. A nifty little trick that I learned is that if you want to figure out how many items there should be in a sample space, just ask yourself how many possible outcomes. So flipping a coin, 2 outcomes. So that makes sense that we'd have 2. Flipping a coin, 2 outcomes. Flipping the second coin, 2 outcomes. And 2 times 2 is 4. And you can see we have 4 outcomes here. Flipping 3 coins, well, there's 2 outcomes for the first, 2 outcomes for the second, 2 outcomes for the third. That makes a total of 8 outcomes. And you can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And rolling a die, there's only 6 outcomes, so that would be that. So what if I said rolling 2 die, or what we would call dice in that case? Well, we know there's 6 for the first die, 6 for the second die, so there'd be a total of 36 different outcomes. I'm not going to show you those now because I don't have enough space on my whiteboard, but I think you get the idea.